Church, quietism is not true. And we have, and I tell you this, the predominant belief system out there in the quote-unquote Christian world is this theology, is quietism. Now what's crazy about it is that people who teach this say that you still have to do something to be saved, but you really don't have to do anything. That you have to believe, or you have your faith only. Well, last time I checked, belief takes work on our part. Faith takes work on our part. But that's not what they teach. They teach that belief and faith is from God as a gift to those who are saved so that they will believe and they will have faith. They didn't have a choice because God is the one who gave it to them, and now they're going to be saved. That's insanity. Now the opposite of this is pietism. Pietism is the theology where people teach that you have to earn your way in. You have to work, and if you can earn enough points, you'll get into heaven. And within these religions that teach this, that it depends on the denomination as to how much work you need to do to get in. Church, we can't earn the right to get into heaven. No matter how hard we work, no matter how good we are, no matter how much we do, we can't make it. And I'm pretty convinced that many people, including in the churches of Christ, fall into some sort of murky pool of a combination of both that is a dangerous combination indeed. I may be stepping on some toes here this morning, but I believe that there are folks in the Lord's church who study at least enough of the Scriptures to believe in Jesus, to some degree or another. Hear about being baptized into Christ and respond to the gospel. And that's just about it. Show up to church most of the time or every once in a while, but that's about it. That's all that it takes. You with me on this one? Some of you may be not responding because you're going, yeah, really the reality is, Dad, that's me. The reality is that I have been baptized into Christ, and so therefore I feel that I have the surety of heaven and everlasting life. But I haven't done any work for the kingdom since then. Or very little work. That showing up to the church is good enough to get me in. Almost as if the audience here should applaud your attendance. Aren't you blessed? I'm here this morning. Thank you very much. Church, that's not enough. Work out your salvation, meaning that we should have the idea that we're saved people. I was lost. I was dead. I was done. But Jesus Christ gave me this precious gift, the most precious gift I could ever have. And He gave it to me. And it's because I responded by faith to Him, and He does His work and still does His work in my life. So I am a sinner who continues to be washed clean with His blood. And what He wants me to do out of love and respect and trust of Him is to work the works of salvation. Why? Because I'm saved. And because I'm saved, I'm going to work. Not to earn the right to get into there, but because I'm getting into there. And that's the difference. So maybe the question should be, and this is not in my notes at all, what work of salvation have you and I done lately? Who here has a job? Who here used to have a job but got laid off and you sure would like to get a job again? And when you do, are you going to work the work of the job to keep the job? You know what I'm saying? That if you get a job or have a job, and you decide to show up, and the office should just be happy that you made it to work on time today. And you sat at your desk, played free cell a little bit, sent some emails to some friends, went to that 5 o'clock meeting, that they should again be thankful that you just showed up on time, and then left. How long do you think you're going to keep that job? If you don't produce in the job that you've been hired to do, you will be fired someday. Church, it's the same thing when it comes to salvation. You have been given the gift, so work the gift. Work as if you are saved. Now, if you don't know what the work of the saved is, then I'm going to tell you, you ain't saved. If you don't know what the work of salvation is, then I'm going to tell you, you need to do the first step of salvation and get yourself washed and filled and born again. Because those who realize the precious gift they have of salvation know or learn and strive to work that work out. They do. They show up to Sunday morning worship service no matter who's preaching, no matter who's teaching, no matter who's presiding over the Lord's table, because they're here to worship God, not anybody else but me and God. I'm here to sing psalms, hymns, and spiritual songs between me and God. Why? Because salvation takes two. And salvation is ultimately up to you. Because God's doing His work, are you doing yours? Church, we need to take personal responsibility for salvation, because nobody should care about whether you get to heaven more than you. Nobody. And nobody else can get you in there. The Sunset Church of Christ, the brothers and sisters here, we can do all we can to create an atmosphere to teach you how to work, to teach you how to serve, to teach you the things of the Bible, to encourage you. Man, I love to be encouraged, don't you? I mean, to pump each other up. We can do that, but we cannot get you into heaven. We need to create the atmosphere to help you learn how to work the works of salvation, but whether you do it or not is up to you. Why you come here to Sunday morning worship service, man, that's up to you. What you do with your friends, your neighbors, your children is up to you. I'm going to tell you this right now. We're going to tonight look at the role of parents and children and the relationship that we have with each other tonight during our Bible class tonight. And I'm telling you, our children are watching, parents, adults, grandparents. They are watching to see where we place our salvation in life. They're watching to see what we prioritize as the gifts that we cherish so much. I'll take a bullet for anybody in the Lord's church. I will. I'll lay down my life for my wife. I will. I'll lay down my life for so many things. I will. But I should be laying down and out my life at the greatest of level for Jesus Christ and the salvation He's given me. Amen. And if I'm not, I'm in trouble. Because I've stuck that great gift into a dark place that is not getting any attention nor protection at all. Work out your salvation. It takes two, and really it's ultimately up to you. Now, the other part of this passage that really stands out as something that needs to be talked about is that salvation, look at the verse again, verse 12. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Really? There needs to be fear and trembling as I'm working out my salvation? But I thought I wasn't necessarily supposed to fear God. I thought, we had this sort of, fear was supposed to be reverence. I'll tell you right now, the Greek word here for fear means fear. Being afraid. We're to work out our salvation with trembling. What does that mean? It means that as I see this beautiful gift that I have, the most precious gift in my life, I fear and I tremble at the idea of losing it. Amen. I'm afraid that if it's gone, then I'm gone forever. So with fear and trembling, I look at this thing and I'm going to protect it with my life. I'm going to cherish it. I'm going to polish it. I'm going to grow it. I'm going to work on it so that when the day comes, when the trumpet sounds, Jesus says to me, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." What's a servant? Does work. What kind of work? Of salvation.